Picking up where I left off, leaving Arkansas, heading down to Texas, meeting up with friends in Missouri City. I'm in Texas, y'all. When you haven't been home for a long time, you start to crave some things from home. And sometimes you crave things that you really normally wouldn't crave, even when you're there all the time. And as soon as I got over that Texarkana line, I started looking for a Taco Cabana. And I found one, except it was closed. So I ended up at Whataburger instead. Don't get me wrong, Whataburger's great and all. I just usually don't do a burger joint. But like I said, Taco Cabana was not available, so... Dude, I got you. I will always make way for the truck drivers and try to assist directionally any way I can. They're bigger than me. I don't want them to crush me, for I am just a mere cargo van. So onward we go to Missouri City, where I'm going to hang out with my friend Clay, who used to be in the band Havoc, and I used to roadie for those guys. Once in a great while, I get to see the man, and we get to hang out. Him and his wife will be having dinner with me this evening, and we'll see what's up with tomorrow. Like a proper Texas gentleman, Clayton offered to take me to the firing range. However, my neck injury prevents me from doing that. So we brought out the BB guns into the backyard and did a little target practice back there. Now, despite the knowledge of knowing that I should not be handling a firearm because of my neck injury, I thought it would be okay to handle the Mongolian horse bow instead. The first two pulls were super weak, couldn't even make it to the target, but on that third pull, I made it all the way back to my shoulder when I was hit with a great pain, and I released the arrow, which flew up and over the target, over the fence, and into the neighbor's house next door. After launching a primitive attack on my friend's neighbor, I decided to leave town as fast as I could and make my way to Austin. The closer I get to Austin, the more I start to wonder about how much it's changed. Of course, I'm hearing from all my friends on a daily basis things that are changing in Austin. Places that I used to go to are no longer open. Chrissy Hines is right. You can't go back to Cleveland. Way to go, Ohio. I don't know. But yeah, I was really curious to see just how much Austin had changed since I had been back. But before getting to Austin, I had to make an important stop, and that was to Buc-ee's. And if you are a road tripper, hardcore like I am, you know that Buc-ee's is like the best truck stop in the United States. Bar none, hands down. You can't even discuss any... Yeah, you can't argue with me. I dare you. It's like 110 miles until Buc-ee's. Of course I'm stopping. Duh.
Hi kids! Something magical is about to happen. Behold, Buc-ee's of Bastrop. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, there it is. 1,000 feet. Use the left lane. Texas 21 West, Texas 71 West. It's like the mecca for road trips. Shut up, bitch! I know where I'm at! 1,000 feet. Turn left on 1. No! Fuck you! I'm here at Buc-ee's. Yay! Oh yeah, we gotta face the beaver. We must face the beaver. Head south. Oh, there it is. Get out of my way, car. What? Okay, you have to stay. This is a very important... Don't fuck with me.
Buc-ee's is clean, well lit, it's safe, it's friendly, and they have everything you could possibly want, from pajama bottoms to stuffed beavers. Take that how you want to. It's just a fun place to go to while you're on the road, and that cartoon beaver is everything. Just driving into Austin on 290 was a thing. It was quite obvious how much the town had grown. The traffic was like I was driving in LA. But it was still great to be back, and I was excited to get to my friend Karen's house and see her ranch. My friend Karen and I used to work at Whole Earth Provision Company together in Austin, and most of my friends in Austin are through the Whole Earth Provision Company family, which we call Whole Earthlings or Webco. Anyhow, her place is beautiful. I love it out in the hill country. The terrain, everything about it, I just love. And her place is really cool. She's got a couple donkeys. She's got a horse, a lot of chickens, and her family just really take advantage of the property that they have. It's just a really neat place. And of course, her family was just super cool for letting me stay. It was great to meet all of them for the first time. Her kids are wonderful. They just have a beautiful family. And it was just nice to catch up with her in person. So here we see those donkeys. The donkeys were not a fan, really, of the drone, and Maui was not a fan of the donkey. Karen also has these dogs, and oh my God, this white dog, Duke, I think the dog was in love with me. It would not leave me alone. And here we see the dogs putting on a bit of a show for me right before I was going to leave. Yeah, that was my cue to go, if I knew it was going to be that kind of party. After I left Houston, I heard from my friend Jessica, and she said that she caught COVID. So that kind of put a damper on our plans. We were going to hang out for a couple days, watch some movies, hang out in the hot tub, but instead we hung out at a distance in her backyard near the pool for just a couple hours. But at least I got to see her. We decided to set up this little photo shoot so later on I could Photoshop us together in the same image like we were sitting next to each other. It was a good visit, and the next time I get down there, we'll have to revisit those plans that we missed out on. After leaving Jessica's place, I decided to just tool around for a while. One of the things I used to do on days off when I lived in Austin was just go out and explore different roads. So I decided to explore some roads I haven't been on in a very long time. In the past, a friend of mine expressed that she did not find the appeal at all in the Texas Hill Country landscape. But I really find the beauty in it. I can just stare out into the distance forever. I love driving through the mesquites. I love being on dirt roads. I just love everything about it, the ruggedness. It's just really Texas. I don't know if I can explain it any better than that. It's just pure Texas. But anyhow, then I decided to cruise around through my old stomping grounds in Westlake, which is where all the wealthy people live, and I used to work for those people. Still there. So on the left we have the house of Mike Judge. Wow, which is demolished. Holy shit. I guess he doesn't live there anymore. And this is where I used to live. On the right. Except it's a much different house now. They kept the footprint and pretty much destroyed it. Shed is still there. Holy moly. Yep, I lived up here. And let's get a look at the house. There it is. This house used to be a 150-year-old gentleman's ranch with stone walls that were over 2.5 feet thick. And when my old boss, Dr. Arts, sold the property, some people picked it up and they just tore it down and built this house on its footprint. Public hearing. Special use proposal. Huh. Wow. Oh my God. Oh, look at Austin! Holy fuck. It doesn't even look like Austin anymore. I do not recognize that skyline. I have spent countless hours photographing my friend's ranch. Her family settled in this area like 150 years ago, and the ranch has been in the family ever since. Now, at one time, the ranch was really expansive, and over time, they have sold off bits and pieces of it. It actually kind of reminds me of the show Yellowstone. Right now, a lot of people want her property, and they don't want to sell, and they're trying to keep it together, and they almost lost it because of some paperwork mishap. They had to do all kinds of crazy stuff to maintain the ranch. Now, I don't know if it really is a tradition, but to me it is. Spending New Year's on the ranch is a thing, and my birthday is the day before New Year's, so my time there kicks off a little early. And, you know, there could be hundreds of people on the ranch, and you would never know it because the place is so big, and we're all campers, so people pitch their tents up all over the property, and we would have communal fires scattered about. Sometimes bands would play, we'd have movies. But this year, the gathering is very small. A lot of people have moved away from Austin, sold their homes, and left. Some people have passed away. We recently lost a couple friends, and so that was one of the things that was on our mind with celebrating the new year, was remembering our friends. And it was really good to be around friends. I'm really glad I made the choice to come here instead of Florida. Sally's house is just really cool, and one of the main reasons is because her and her friends built the house. The house is made of rammed earth, and it's made from the earth around the property. Like her best friend Keith did a lot of the metal work along the roof beams, and stained glass windows were found and by her mother, I think. It's just a really cool place because it's all Sally, and all of Sally's people had their hand in it. So it's a really, really special place. I was supposed to spend the last 3 days in Texas with my best friend Cliff and his wife Tally and their daughter Dahlia. But upon their return from Baltimore, Tally got sick, and it turned out that she had COVID. So we distance visited in the driveway for just a few hours, and we were able to shoot the shit a while, and it was a good visit, short but sweet, but very much needed. And in lieu of just hanging out in Austin, where all my people were either sick or out of town or moved away, I decided to head out to Fredericksburg, which allowed me to cruise the hill country in all its glory and visit a couple of places that I wanted to see. And here it is. This is what I came to see. Easter Island Heads and Stonehenge in the middle of Texas. Years ago, probably 20 years ago, I was cruising around on a day off in my truck with my dog, just exploring roads, and I ended up out here in Hunt and Ingram. And I came around a corner, and suddenly there were these Easter Island Heads and Stonehenge. What was cool about it was there were cows on the property. So there were cows intermingling with the Stonehenge formations. This Stonehenge area is, I want to say it's 60% to scale, I believe. I'd have to look it up to make sure. It's really easy to find now. It's popular now. But back in the day, not too many people knew about it. And then, after I visited with the Easter Island Heads, I drove out to the boot fence. And I have a massive collection of boot fence photography. I spent over a decade looking for boot fence art. And this place here paid off in spades. Some of the boots are brand new. Some of the boots are really, really old and barely looking like boots anymore. But it's a great place for photography. It's about, I want to say, a quarter mile of boots on fence posts. And I just think it's super cool. And I have a plethora of photography from this area because of that fence. And maybe I'll get to revisit it again sometime in the future. But for now, this is the last of my time in Texas. It is time for me to head back up north and get back to regular life. But I will be making a stop in Little Rock to hang out with my friend Mateo for just a wee bit. So that's it for now. Thanks again for watching. The next show is going to be a doozy because I am taking off for Hawaii. That's right, I'm going to be out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean for a couple weeks, and when I return, I'll get back to this. See ya. Shoes!